And we are live.
Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land. Have you ever wondered about that credit score thing when we're talking about our VA home loan benefit, or how some people have a credit score and some people don't? Have you ever wondered about that? Well, tune in for your VA Mortgage Minute, and you'll learn about it. Hi, I'm David Carter, National Director of Education for Veterans Lending Group and a U.S. Navy retiree. I've been working at Veterans Lending Group for about 6-7 months now, and having recently retired the Navy after a 34-year career. But my partner in crime, Lee Wen, otherwise known as the Nuke, sitting right next to me. Pitched over to him.
Hey guys, my name's Lee Wynn. I'm the sales manager for the Silverdale branch here in Washington. And I've been in this world for about 3 to 4 years. And I was in the submarine service for about 7 years. And joined this field right away, becoming one of their educators as well as one of the loan officers as well. So very much active in the real estate world.
Yeah, I think that the submarine community is probably the only community I didn't serve in while I was on active duty, which is fine.
Yeah, you're good.
You can keep it. I'm not into the whole sinking ships. So
Yeah.
it takes a special breed of person, brother, and I give you all the credit for that.
It does.
Hey, well, as we kind of alluded to in our opening, today's show is a little bit more in depth on this credit score / credit report / lender overlay thing. Um, if you've been in the market for a mortgage, especially in the VA side, or you've been paying attention, doing a little bit of research, you'll hear some people say there is no credit score, the VA has no credit score, or certain companies will have a certain credit score. There's a lot that goes into that, and so I'm going to kind of ask a question to Lee here to have him kind of start things off. Lee, where does all this come from, and what is the truth with this credit score thing?
No, that's a great question. It's a really good point to bring up. And to set the record straight, everything is governed by what's called the VA Lender's Handbook. VA Lender's Handbook states everything that how VA loans should be processed and what qualifies to get a VA loan, as well as eligibility, like your time in service and type of service and things like that. In the the Lender's Handbook, it specifically states that the VA home loan does not have a minimum credit score. That's what the VA Lender's Handbook says. Now, there are a lot of people who are asking that, what is the minimum credit score? How come this credit score here is over different compared to this one, and so on and so forth. And really it has to boil down to what banks do with their VA loan. So in a sense, the VA Lender's Handbook says these are the minimum requirements to get a VA loan, and the lenders they generally impose their own requirements additional to what the VA Lender Handbook requires. And we call those lender overlays.
Yeah, and I think that's an important distinction that some people don't quite catch is that overlay thing, and a lot of times that relates to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Lee, that certain companies will have a certain acceptable level of risk when it comes to the VA home loan in particular. So they'll put on top of the VA requirements these things like, say, 650 or 640 or something along those lines. But that does kind of lead me into another thought and question on that. We hear about these numbers, and what do they mean? You get this broad spectrum, and how does that really relate to financial worthiness?
Right, and those are really good points to bring up. And these extra requirements, it's just imagine like the VA Lender's Handbook painted a box. It's a relatively really large box in regards to what it will allow. Think of it like a target area of what they allow for people to get a VA loan. These other banks and lenders who impose these what's called lender overlays makes that target of area a lot smaller. And what that does to a lot of people is that it's not used like it was intended, right? The VA loan is supposed to be very lenient and give a veteran or a military family the most reasonable chance to be able to get into a home. So by putting on these lender overlays, it makes makes it more restrictive for the VA client to get a VA home loan. But the thing is, there's all types of lender overlays, and every bank has their own lender overlays. So you may hear one bank say 660, some banks say 580, some say 620. Luckily for us, we don't have those lender overlays, so we can go as low. I mean, the lowest I've ever done was 542. we have a loan officer, Tony Dane. He's done as low as 507. Doesn't necessarily mean that they can get a house, but we will find a reasonable chance if there is an opportunity to do so. And these credit scores, it's just a representation of, it's a numerical value of what they've done in their credit history, right? It's just like a trustworthy score or a credit-worthy score. So basically, it's a numerical value to tell the lenders that you seem more trustworthy by having a higher score because you've done all these great things to have such a higher score. It's all like a encompassing one number kind of thing, determine if you're able to pay stuff on time, if you're able to manage debts well, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and actually, while I'm thinking about it, I kind of liken it to, or at least in the scope of what we're talking about, especially with the VA home loan mortgage, a lot of lending institutions will use it as kind of a quality cut thing. They'll just use this picture, this snapshot picture, where what we do here at Veterans Lending Group is a little more broad spectrum. I mean, we take a look at the person's credit file and get a better picture of history and how that all works. Especially being a veteran or being in the military, we don't have the same lifestyles as a typical civilian would. So our credit history or credit report might look a little different, and gives us the opportunity to explain or add a little more explanation in there to hopefully get that veteran or service member into the yes column. But that just brought up a thought that I wanted to ask you about, and the old guy moment just hit me, just went right out the window.
We do have a question, so we can answer that while you can think about that. How does that work?
Awesome. Yeah, let's keep the question.
Let's do that. So Haley Davis asked if I applied for a VA loan with another company and they said my score was too low, does that mean I have other options? So yes, the answer is yes, you have other options, because another thing that's noted in the VA Lender's Handbook, it states that the person's credit score shouldn't be the only reason why they can't get into a home, right? So if you have a low credit score, that means there's something else going on. But what is a low credit score? So I would say if you're anything below 620, there's some things that have happened, even 620, 600. There's some things that has happened in your credit history that specifically has forced your credit score down. So you would have had to do something on the negative side by accident. Sometimes that happens, to cause your credit score to go low. Now, there's a good enough reason, like it's an extenuating circumstance. We've seen clients get into a home with those extenuating circumstances explained. So I've had clients in the past that bought a house that had, within the last 12 months, 1 or 2, 3 late payments, but they had an extenuating circumstance because it was due to PCS, mail didn't get to where it was supposed to go, bills were missed by accident. Outside of that, one time, that 2-month time, they were fine everywhere else. So it's a matter of what is causing that score to be low, and if there's a good explanation on it. And if there is, and it's basically out of your control and you didn't mean to do that, it wasn't like a behavior kind of thing, there's a very strong chance that we'll still be able to get you moving forward, depending on the situation. It's a very case by case. So
we see a lot of this stuff, Lee, with short notice PCS moves or short notice deployments, or things like this. And this is, again, going back to that earlier point of that military lifestyle is different. So having the opportunity to dig into the file a little more allows us to be a better advocate for that prospective buyer and say, hey, let's answer these questions and see if we get to yes. But that did trigger my old guy moment there. You have the credit score and you have a credit report or credit file. Can you just take a minute or two, Lee, to go over what that difference is and what those mean?
Yeah, so the credit report encompasses everything about your entire credit profile. So credit scores are included in that. And on the mortgage side, we look at what's called a tri-merge credit report. So we look at TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, all 3 scores, and the history for those e-scores. And it's all tells us everything that you have open, all the things that you have open and closed, all the things that may have caused a low credit score. Or we can, for specific my clients, I actually show them their credit report during my pre-approval meeting. I tell them, hey, these are things that you can work on while you're shopping to get a better credit score, and maybe we can repull your credit score to have a higher one. So really, like I said, the credit report just encompasses everything. It shows you everything that's going on, what you have active right now. And then the credit report, the credit score itself is just an encompassing number to show how well have you managed your credit and what your history is like. So they all go in hand, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have just because you have a high credit score doesn't necessarily mean you're super qualified either. So we've seen that side as well. So it's very case by case, and we definitely dive into like, well, what's really going on? What does it tell us about your credit worthiness? So Crystal,
we get that bigger picture of the story, right?
Yeah,
the number gives us just a snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
That report or file gives us the kind of okay, what is this person's story?
Right, but especially the credit score is like the picture on the dating profile, and then the rest of the profile is like the biography, who that person is, and stuff like that, to figure out who is this person behind this score, like what are they doing. Typically, it's straightforward. Most people have decent credit, and if you've been basically paying stuff on time and keeping your credit card balances as low as you can, you generally will be in the high 600s or above, and it's really that simple. So Crystal asks, my credit is good, but I would like to improve on it still. Do you offer help or advice to help with building credit back up? Absolutely. Yeah, we do that all the time. We don't give our clients a "you suck" letter and tell them go away. We actually are there with you, sit right next to you, alongside with you to help you and say, hey, these are things you can improve on. Maybe you don't have to do anything at all. Maybe you're trying to buy a house and you feel like you have to pay off all these things. Before you spend all that money, I would just say sit down with us first, see if it makes sense to spend all that money. In some cases, I would rather you hold on to that, because once you paid it toward debt, it's gone.
And to take that one step further, as Lee mentioned, if you're willing, we're going to work with you, and we have a program specifically for that called Night Vision. So we have a prospective client, maybe has some hiccups in the road, something in their credit history that is preventing them from moving forward. We'll enroll them in that Night Vision program and with some one-on-one counseling, and hopefully get them to yes, so we can get them into the home of their dreams. So that's another opportunity or option for those that are willing to work with us.
Yeah, we've had clients that we've been working with for 12 to 24 months to even 3 years. So we're definitely the type to just kind of be with you the entire way through.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you want to learn more about our education programs, highly encourage you to check out our website, vahomeloanbootcamp.com, where we have a full library of on-demand courses. We also have classes for real estate professionals who want to become better advocates for their military and veteran clients. So that's available free of charge. I do recommend you check it out. And we'll try to hold here for a little bit, see if there's any last-minute questions that may roll in. Being that this is the first show, I'm sure the word's just getting out. We'll see how this goes as we continue to do our show here, looking at probably a bi-weekly basis. But if you're tuning in and you like our show, we'll make sure you get word out about it. And seeing how there's no more questions, and right at the 15-minute mark, which is we want to keep it to, I just want to again recommend that if you want to learn more about your benefit, about this product that's called the VA Home Loan and how it applies to you, go check out our education site or give us a call. We'll be glad to walk you through any issues. And in closing, I'm David Carter, National Director of Education for Veterans Lending Group.
I'm Lee Wynn, National Educator for Veterans Lending Group and Loan Officer as well.
And we also call lovingly the Nuke. So this has been the VA Mortgage Minute presented by Veterans Lending Group. Thanks for tuning in.